about jobs in Missouri. Let's go across the river, see what folks are talking about at the State House in Illinois. We are joined on Google Plus, on the Google Hangout, by Amanda Vinicky, the State House Bureau Chief for WUIS Illinois Public Radio. Thank you, Amanda, for being here. Before we talk too much specifics, I want to just clarify, we're in session here in Missouri. Illinois, they gavelled in, help us understand, have they gotten to work in Illinois yet?
Well, we just finished up the last of the last session. So the lame duck session got out on Tuesday evening. Wednesday, you had the new legislators sworn in, and so that was pretty much all that happened on Wednesday. Today, they gavelled in. The House, for example, was in for, did the gavel in, literally pounding in. Right. And then a minute and 9 seconds later said, all right, we're done, and adjourned. So
well, I know they've been
back until the end of the month and even perhaps early February.
Okay, so why is that? I know they've been talking about being anxious to get to work.
Exactly. That's all we heard about on Wednesday was the spirit of bipartisanship. Everybody's in a great mood. They're vowing to get along. And also that, you know, this is a day for celebrations, but tomorrow we get down to work. Evidently not so much. They got to the work of things like office space and finding out who's going to park where and who gets a parking spot closest to the Capitol. I think primarily really what you had was a whole lot of parties last night, and by coming into session today, they, yes, can take care of that business, but it also allows them to, you know, get a per diem paid. So those hotel rooms that they got last night are, after all those parties, are covered by the state. So right at this point, no progress on really any of the major issues that Illinois is facing.
Okay, so not to be too cynical, but is that a sign that nothing's going to change and this is the way we've always done it? We're going to, or do you think 2013 is going to see some sort of some action in Illinois? We've got a lot of issues. We're talking jobs in Missouri. Jobs is an issue just about everywhere. Pension, several other things. But what about the spirit of the State House in Illinois do you see?
You know, we're going to have a lot of change. I know your program has been talking about the majorities that Republicans hold in Missouri, and of course in Illinois it is just the opposite. Here you have Democrats have historic supermajorities. They've been in control and had it. This is how they've used it, and it's really actually pretty remarkable. These are Democrats who, without a single GOP vote, increased the income tax in Illinois, and yet had tremendous success. There was a lot of fear that Republicans were going to make inroads in the November election, and you saw just the opposite. Again, Democrats gaining even more. So maybe we will see some change from that. I think that there are areas, you, for instance, mentioned gay marriage or same-sex marriage, and that did not have enough votes to get through in the lame duck session, which was kind of surprising, because when you have these legislators that don't have elections on the horizon, that's when perhaps they'll be able to vote for something that's more controversial. That medical marijuana was something else that was perhaps going to come up in the lame duck session. You saw that not come to a vote because there wasn't enough support for it. There's some thought that with these new Democratic supermajorities, those controversial measures that maybe lean a little more liberal will have a chance at passing. That said, I think that it is hard to control when you have kind of those big shoulders and the might of a supermajority.
And the responsibility.
A lot of responsibility, but also a lot of members that think, oh, we're great, and it's easy to kind of pass the buck. And interestingly enough, a lot of ways that Democrats were able to pick up those seats was by winning downstate, and those are more conservative districts. So whereas they're Democrats, that's a different type of Democrat than the Chicago, Cook County leaders who have for so long ruled the roost.
If you're a teacher or a public worker or just anyone who's paid any amount of attention to politics in Illinois, the pension system has been an issue for years. It's close to $100 billion in obligations, and they're having trouble paying for it. Any movement on that issue that you see?
There was a whole lot of last-ditch efforts. If anybody was paying attention to the end of the lame duck session in Illinois, you saw kind of a crazy maneuver by Governor Pat Quinn. He wanted to try and have a commission that would settle this and be, you know, forced to sign into a law. All sorts of crazy shenanigans at the State House with last-minute deals and attempts to get something through. No, it didn't happen. And that's where especially you heard talk of during inauguration, tomorrow, we get down to work. This has to get done. I think that there are a few things that could move the needle. For example, $100 billion is a ton of money, and the governor says that you have $17 million is how much pensions go up every week. So increasing steadily. That's basically, I looked it up once. That's basically what Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie could buy multiple houses for that amount of money. What Illinois is paying on its pensions with this unfunded
And probably
liability.
take care of more children.
Exactly. And so it's a problem. And eventually that is going to eat up so much of the rest of the budget that I think legislators who've been lax and not wanting to vote on something so controversial and tough will maybe be forced to when it says, for example, that education isn't going to get more money, that you're going to have to take state police off the streets. And once it starts to come to that, once it starts to really affect people through those cuts, maybe that'll be it. Also, Illinois already, according to Moody's at least, has Illinois the lowest credit rating, and so Illinois could get to junk bond status. If that happens. That would maybe be able to push legislators to move. It's something that the governor says he's kind of bracing for and fearful of.